Well,
shall we?
Yeah. The first energy drinks of the new year.
Yeah.
It's a very symbolic moment for us. There you go.
There you go.
In a tribute to the one and only Haroon, who is also on PTO.
We can't make this up.
There's got to be more shows of us talking about him on PTO than there is of him here talking about how he wasn't on PTO.
I wouldn't be surprised if we start getting some job applications.
We got to.
Like,
I'm going to work 75% of the time. It's still a solid effort.
Exactly.
Jesus.
Oh, man. So it isn't actually New Year's yet for us, but it will be for the listeners that tune into this episode.
So by the time you hear us, we hope you had a wonderful and happy New Year. And
safe one, too.
Yeah, safe, all the safety stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? I was telling my wife the other day, Joanna and I were talking. We're like, look, I don't really know anybody who, I mean, maybe it's the age thing.
Yeah.
But I don't really know anybody who's out partying like they used to be. Like
for
pre-COVID for New Year's.
New Year's, yeah. It's for me, first of all, I'm like scared about driving on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Like,
dude,
it's the worst, right? Especially because there's like, rain and I can't trust anybody on the road. Especially like people like you.
The rain thing is
Yeah.
a curveball.
Really? Slippery. Bro, people are down on their cash. They haven't renewed their tires. Come on.
Wow. Why that?
Come on. All those tires are bald. You never do that when I park in a parking lot and I just walk by and I'm looking at all the cars. I'm just checking out tires. I'm like, damn, bro, you got.
No, that sounds like some shit some dude in a palazzo would do. Because
Wow.
I got to be honest with you. I don't judge a man by the baldness of his tires.
Really?
No.
It's not a man and woman. What do you mean?
I don't judge a woman or I don't care what they are.
I'm not judging. I'm saying I'm like they're overdue.
If you're looking at people's tires like that, you're judging.
It scares me.
That's the whole point.
Oh, my dad's a mechanic growing up, so this is stuff that I saw all the time.
That is such a good save. God damn it.
Yeah. I grew up at a shop.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And the irony is you have no mechanical skills yourself.
Zero.
Like, how does that happen?
Exactly.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my dad has zero mechanical skills whatsoever. I mean, terrible. He's like, he'll get into any kind of project, whether it's home renovation or like car. In like 2 minutes, he's like, fuck this. And he gets mad and he walks away.
Yeah.
But me, I can actually work on those things.
Yeah. It's like your sanctuary. It's like you find peace there.
Yeah. For a long time when I was single, before, kids and responsibilities and everything else, I always had like a classic car in the garage and I would just go in and like, that's what I would do.
Just start messing with stuff.
Just take it apart. You'll figure out how to put it together or you won't,
You can just pay somebody to do it.
No. The problem is when you take it apart, even if you label it like most people don't want to put it back together for you.
Really?
Yeah, it's a problem. I found that out the hard way. I thought the exact same thing the first project I did. And I was like, I'll just pay somebody. And I tried to pay someone. They're like, nope.
No.
Not going to do it.
Right.
So, yeah, it's like a filing system. If they don't collate and file their documents their own way, they don't want to fuck your shit because they're like, I can't find anything here. Get the fuck out of here.
Is it like organized chaos for them?
Dude, the first like real mechanic shop that I worked with for like a car build, I don't want to mention their name because it's going to sound bad. They were the most fucking disorganized people I've ever. I mean, shit was everywhere. And I'm like, there's like other people's project cars, and they're all like the kind of the same like vintage. Like this was a JDM project, Japanese vintage Japanese car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no fucking way they're gonna find all my shit.
Right.
He would fucking take shit apart, and like, so I once gave him a pair of LED lights from a company called Dapper Lighting. Ben, who owns Dapper Lighting, listens to the show. Shout out to Ben.
Shout out to Ben.
And so he takes apart the entire like lighting system and like breaks it down, gets into the bulbs, gets into the wiring. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? All you had to do was build a harness and plug it in.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to see how it worked. So I come there and things like all spread out. I'm like, there's no fucking way he's gonna pull this shit back together.
Yeah.
Dude, when he delivered the car, everything was put back together. I couldn't believe it.
It's not just shops like that, man. Just even mechanic shops somewhere like this.
Yeah, I know, dude.
It's
incredible. It's got to be like an artistic mindset or something.
Yeah. They take a pause on this and go over here, work on something else. And
It's just got to be like their process.
Yeah.
Like, it's just weird to me. Like, I could not function that way at all,
No.
bro. I'd lose
No,
my
no, no.
fucking mind.
No.
You know what my guilty pleasure is?
Mm.
This is getting intimate now. I'm
Uh-oh.
sharing personal details with you and the audience. And I want you to know this is me opening up to you.
Oh, God. And this is you accusing me down the road of not
Not
doing
doing
enough.
it. You don't do it. You don't do it. You don't share. On my Instagram feed, one of my pet like passions is, besides archaeology, is I love watching people take apart like cars on like their Instagram stories or YouTubes
Oh, okay.
and like put in all different types. Like I'm watching a guy right now who I watched a guy who did a Porsche not too long ago. He actually went viral, so everybody's watching him.
Yeah.
He did it as like an art installation. And now I'm watching a guy do like a vintage Range Rover in his garage.
Oh, okay.
And he's just filming like these short, like 30-second clips. I just love it.
Really?
Can't get enough.
Wow. Okay.
It's like,
My guilty pleasure right now is listening to these dads break down like hacks on how to bond with your kids better.
bro, why do you got to sell this shit like this?
I'm just,
Like, come
I'm
on,
just
man.
being honest, man.
That's not honest,
I swear to
dude.
God, I'll show you right
That's
now.
not a guilty pleasure, bro. There's nothing guilty about that. That's like,
I just love listening to it.
you know, guys, I hate being the world's greatest father. Ha ha ha. It's so
That's not what
fucking
I'm saying.
tough.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's my algorithm. It's all like dad stuff.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
I swear.
What about on your burner account?
But I don't have a burner account. I barely have the higher standard account on here as well.
That's all Jody High Roller and like
Jody High
Jamaican
Roller.
rap.
Oh.
That's all that is?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, now might be a good time to say, hey, welcome back to the #1 financial literacy podcast in the world. Sitting next to me, my partner in time, the world's greatest dad,
Oh,
Saied Omar.
God,
everybody.
here we go. Sitting next to me on my left is my partner in crime, also the world's greatest dad, Chris Nahibi.
Doesn't make it any better.
Yeah.
And
Sitting behind the ones and twos, we got...
DJ Nobody.
There's nobody waving.
Although he looks skinnier today than he's ever looked in a while.
That's fucked up. You can't make it. It's not nice to make fun of him when he's not here. We can only
totally
do it
fine.
when he's here.
No, he's not here a lot, man. If I don't make fun of him when he's not here, I mean, it's going to be so rare.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's on extended PTO this time, multiple weeks now.
I think this is gonna be it for a while. I have a feeling. I mean, the holidays, he had to go up there and visit them.
Bro, you were overpromising and underperforming in this one.
Bro, his
You know.
in-laws live, for the record, so everybody knows, his in-laws live up north in the Bay Area. So, for the holidays, they had to go up there. He's being a good husband, man.
No, I'm not judging the good husband status. I'm just saying,
I feel like you are.
he's being a great husband, a good father, and a shitty podcast producer. That's all I'm saying. When was the last time you heard an episode of Joe Rogan and Jamie's like, oh, hey, man, I'm going to be off next month.
Yeah.
Don't have it very often.
Doesn't happen very often, if at all.
Yeah. If my voice sounds a little different, and I think it does, I'm sound a little stuffy. I am getting over a raging case of the flu. Yes, raging case sounds a lot like
And I'm
herpes.
risking my life being here because I did not get the flu
No,
shot.
I'm better. I didn't get the flu shot either. This year, it was the first year I didn't get it because it's a long, convoluted story, but I found out my mom got legitimate blood clots from the COVID vaccine.
Scary.
FDA visited her. This is not like a conspiracy theorist thing. This is like, this happened to her. It's my mom. She's been on blood thinners her entire life. And ever since hearing that about a year and a half ago, she almost died. I've been very concerned about any kind of vaccine because obviously her genetics are the same as my genetics. And if she reacted that way from just her biology, there's a possibility that I could react that way.
Yeah.
So like just now in general, vaccines like wig me out. My wife though got the flu vaccine this year and my son got one. They both had the flu in the house first because they were, patient zero.
Yeah.
They had, it was like nothing. It was a couple of days of coughing. No big deal. I got it. And it was like, I got kicked in the ding ding. I've been down for 3 days.
Man.
I sound like this.
Yeah.
Not a good look for me.
Not a good look. We'll power through. And I'm risking my life being here.
You're not risking your life. I'm better now.
I don't know, man. You don't
What
look
do
a
you
whole
mean?
lot better.
I don't look good. I know. Usually like I'm sexy as fuck.
It's also this is a real treat for the listeners.
Why is that?
It's before noon.
Yeah, this is a Saturday episode. We're going to be fire today.
We
No
better be
Haroon to get in the way and make bullshit comments. It's perfect.
pulling up people.
I'm
pulling up Jessica Dickler's photo.
we need some more dick. Lur. Yeah.
She's getting free shout outs on the show.
One day she's going to become like a major person in the media, and it's going to be in part because we've endorsed her brand.
If she doesn't send us a bottle, I'm going to be...
Oh, shit. I didn't bring... damn it. I got a bottle of Macallan 12 I bought like 2 weeks ago to bring in here.
Oh, we're not drinking it before noon.
Well, not
we're
today.
We're not degenerates.
We are degenerates, but... Yeah, we are degenerates. But no, I just keep bringing it to the studio, and I leave it. It's in my backpack.
Oh,
I've been rolling around with it in my backpack.
We'll celebrate when Odin
You know who else does that? Alcoholics. I got to get it out of my backpack. That's the problem.
It's a bad look.
Bro, it's been in my backpack for like a
people
week.
standing around you trying to open your backpack. You're like, fuck.
Bro, I went to the gym. And it was in my gym, my bag when I went to the gym.
God,
because I use the same backpack because I have all my food in there and everything else, and my my work and all like whatever.
Mhm.
So I have that executive locker in the gym. So I pulled it out to put it in because my backpack wouldn't smush down and fit in there.
Yeah.
And some guy's like, "Is that a bottle of whiskey?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "In your gym locker?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then
We need to rethink this whole gym thing, man.
and then I went to the office and it was in my bag and I'm like, "Hey man,
Oh, man.
nah, it was a gift." I'm like, "Why is it in your bag when you just got here?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just didn't take it out last night. And they're like, "Uh-huh."
It's closed though. It's not open.
Bro, people look at me weird now. They give me that side eye. Like, no wonder why he's quiet in the afternoons.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like, I swear to God,
It's crazy though. Like, how many years ago were people like drinking in the office? Like after hours?
Oh,
everything?
dude, even
Like
15, 16 years ago, it was still pretty common. Like, you would go into the office and towards the end of the day, crack open a couple beers, have some whiskey, especially in the banking sector, man.
It's like they had like even like a little wine bar in like the C-suites, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, Scott, CEO, he still has wine behind him that are gift bottles, like, but it's more like a...
But wine's different. I'm saying they would have like whiskey.
Yeah, back in the day, you would have like a bar in your office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I kind of came into the working world where that was kind of coming out of like a prominence, but it was still very much visible. But yeah, I mean, even during my early working days, 16 years ago, 17 years ago, like that was a thing.
Yeah.
On Thursday, Friday nights, if you were working late, you would be opening up whiskey and drinking at the desk.
Yeah, that was one of the things about the house that we bought too, right? Mm-hmm. The home was built in the 70s, so it had like
the wet bar.
It has a wet bar.
Yeah.
And wife and I were like, okay, well, we drink, but we don't like showcase it like as out there like that because we didn't want to showcase it for the kids, right? Like just look up to this, but so we turned it into like a little coffee station, right? Like so we repurposed it, but I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah. I look at it like you got to desensitize kids anyway.
Oh, they see us drink. I'm not saying we don't show them that we drink. It's just I'm not trying to like put it on a pedestal.
No, I mean I get that.
Yeah.
Besides, I kind of like the idea of a coffee bar. I wish we had one. I want a coffee / like protein shake bar.
Gangster.
Because I'm actually in shape and you're not.
2024, new year, new me, baby.
Is that the resolution? We doing this?
Yeah, I'm getting a workout in right after this. Can't you tell?
Fun fact? No, is that workout attire?
This is
Yo, I got an embarrassing thing to admit too, and I don't want to do this early in the show because I can tell this shit's gonna go sideways on me later on.
More detail.
Okay, grain of salt. All right, I've been sick for a while.
All right,
hadn't slept. I went a full night not sleeping because I couldn't sleep. It was 3:00 in the morning. I was gonna finally go to sleep. My son woke up, so I didn't sleep. So I'm not a big fan of Fabletics.
Oh, okay.
Kevin Hart endorses them. They require like this, monthly membership thing, like minimum fee of like $60, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can waive it. I don't really understand the logistics of how it works, so don't anybody get at me with DM saying like, but basically they charge you $60 a month. You can, in the 1st to the 5th of the month, you can skip it. You can use that money towards credit to buy something, but it basically incentivizes you to buy like every month, I guess. But if you're a member and you pay this, your prices drop dramatically, like from like $80 to like $14 or like $15, like crazy nothing, right?
Okay.
They had this special, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they reduced, like, there's no, like, fee to start. It wound up costing me, like, $50 for, like, a full set, like a sweatsuit kind of set thing. And it was a good deal. It was like 40-something bucks plus tax and everything else. And shipping, it was like $50. I was like, all right, whatever. And I'll just cancel next month. And I bought it because Kevin Hart looked good wearing it.
He's pretty lean, man.
No, it's a full hoodie and like pants. I wasn't looking at his physique, but thank you for noticing the man's physique. That's very proper.
You can't come at me with that.
Yes, I can,
Mr. Physique Competition.
I do.
That's a story for another day.
To this day,
wait. Let me get this right. You were posing for another man on camera, trying to teach you how to pose.
Bro, I had another man lube me up before I went on stage. Got to get that pre-stage glow, brother. This is after 2 days of spray tanning and not taking a shower the night before because you got spray tan on.
Yeah,
trust me.
I feel like it's
the
a whole
nasty ass dark side of business.
I feel like that's a whole experience that's worth breaking down in the future for anyone that cares to hear it, because it's like not a lot of people get privy to all that backstage stuff.
I'll tell you, man. I got into it. Like I committed to doing it without fully understanding what the day of was like. I'll tell you this much: I could do any of that again. Like I have the discipline to eat that way. I could certainly work out that way. I still work out that way to this day. I could do all the things that went into prep. I could even do the peak week stuff right before. I could do all that.
What do you mean peak weeks?
So you really start to kind of drill down on your water, your sodium intake, your carbohydrate intake. Carbohydrates typically hold water in, so you're really trying to manage water weight and kind of your overall aesthetics.
Okay.
But it's generally a really difficult week because not only is your training kind of coming to its conclusion, but you're also a little bit under calorie. You've got your carbs are super low, and you're kind of dialing in the details. And based on your coach and your experience and your body, you're going to figure out different ways to make your body look its most presentable day of the show.
Got it.
All you should really care about whenever you do any kind of this physique stuff is day of the show. People obsess on looking like these guys on social media every single day.
Yeah, that's not feasible.
Right? But what I didn't know was the shit you do to get ready for a show, I mean, there's no other way to put this, is questionable.
What do you mean?
It is not normal shit, and you don't think about it because you just see like people on Instagram, show.
Right.
You don't see that backstage shit.
Okay.
Okay, so
like the spray tanning the night before, that kind of stuff?
First of all, this might be obvious to some people. I paid for a spray tan because I was told to, but I didn't do the due diligence and research to figure out like you shouldn't do your face.
Oh my God.
Your face won't match, but you should have like makeup for your face so your face is matte, not glossed, right?
Nobody gave you that?
No, man, I was doing this alone. Like I wasn't in a crew. You know, I had a coach, and the coach was a great coach, and he was amazing, but he expected me to know some of these things. Like he's there to get my body dialed in, and he did. But all the rest of it, like, you know, that wasn't him. So they ask you, like, do you want to tan your face? And some people do. And, you know, it's not like it's bad for everybody, but you don't know how you're going to look. So you do like a spray tan the night before. I walk into a room, and there's just naked dudes. Someone told me to bring a sock, and I thought they were joking, like, ha, 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 bring a sock. No. You walk into a room, there's somebody else getting a spray tan, and like they're like literally bringing you in, you're watching somebody else get a spray tan. The dude literally had a sock over, you know.
Wait, but hold on. I thought the photos that I saw of you were in board shorts.
Yeah.
But so some other people are in like that Speedo look?
Well, everybody's getting a spray tan. You don't want to like spray tan up to your knee, right?
Yeah, but so you could wear like some boxer briefs. Like,
yeah, nobody really did that though.
Damn, that's committed.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Nobody really did that though. I mean, I'm sure people do, but keep in mind, like if anything you wear that gets spray tan on it, it's gone.
And then how long does that last for?
So it'll wash off. It's not like a permanent thing. It'll wash off.
Like a majority of it, you mean?
Yeah. So you actually can't shower that night. So now you go in, right? Like, yeah, you so that night you have to sleep on your own bed sheets because you can't sleep in the hotel ones because you'll stain them with your spray tan.
That's what I was gonna say. So like, what? You got to bring your own sheets?
Typically, most people bring their own sheets, right? Then the next morning, you go back for a double dose of spray tan.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you go back for a second coat.
So the first one's the primer.
Yeah, and then you get the paint color.
Damn, son.
Yeah. So now you got 2 days, no shower, and this is the day most people will have something that, you know, gives them some kind of like, I guess, like fulfillment. So you'll have like coffee and some type of carbohydrate. It'll kind of puff you up a little bit and give you a little more volume before you go on your show. But then you think, okay, you go on stage, you know you win. No. Before you go on stage, there's a pump up room where you get pumped up. Like you lift some weights.
I was gonna say, so is there weights or is there bands? Like, what is it?
There's weights, there's bands. People have different ways of doing this. Some events will have bands, some events will have weights, some events you bring your own. I mean, most people just bring their own stuff and they hope they have other stuff there too.
Okay.
Right? But you talk to people, but it's really catty. Because they're competing against you. So they're like, some of them are trying to mind fuck you, and some of them are just like, you know, newbies. Some people just don't want to talk to anybody. They have earphones in, trying to get in the moment. And I'm like, this is not a basketball game, bro.
Yeah.
We're not going to go out there and like, you know, have Eminem playing in the background and like start getting at it, you know?
Yeah, Nelly.
Yeah, this is just us going on the stage, like, but everybody's looking at each other. There's a lot of ego.
Dude, there's, a lot of time. I mean, how long is a standard like prep, like start to finish?
For me, it was always 90 days. Some guys do it in like 60.
They start prepping?
Wait, prepping for a show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 90 days.
I would think it'd be longer. Damn.
No, I did mine. I think my first one was 90 days.
Wow. Okay.
It was. I picked the first one I did. I think my first show was like the beginning of February, and it was like all the way through Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah,
that was crazy tough.
I mean, even then, like even if it was 60 days though, the thing that people don't realize about these shows is like the dedication. It's like I feel like the gym time's the easy part.
The easiest part and the most enjoyable.
It's the 23 hours or the 22 hours outside of that. It's the sleep. It's getting in the calories.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't want to be on the unhealthy side where at the tail end when you're cutting, right? You're down to like 1,000 calories, you're like, oh, that's unhealthy. You want to work your way to the point where you're still eating reasonably.
Yeah, and generally a good coach will try to like find a good balance of upping your cardio and then keeping your calories there, because obviously the more cardio you have, the more calories you can eat.
Yeah.
Before they start cutting calories back, and usually they don't necessarily cut calories; it's more like cutting down your carbs and giving you a little more fat.
Yeah.
It depends on how your body responds, though. That's the problem. Is a lot of people will think about diets like Atkins or paleo, whatever, all these diets, and they go, "Oh, this worked for that person. It should work for me."
No carnivore.
That's where a lot of this conflict comes online. I truly believe that certain diets work better for certain people, and there is a physiological difference in how your body responds to things, and mine will.
Yeah.
Like you could be a lot less insulin resistant and carb sensitive than me.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Is a lot of people will be like, "Oh, this diet's the best in the world because this guy says it, and everybody should follow it because it works so well for me. It's amazing." And it's like, or maybe his physiology and his lifestyle works for that, and your physiology and your lifestyle works for that. But you telling everybody to do that is kind of bullshit. Because my physiology and my lifestyle might not work for that.
Yeah, the only common thread should be is like the amount of protein intake, right?
Yeah.
It's whether your body responds better to fats or better to carbs.
It's all whatever.
Yeah, it's all.
But anyways, long story short, before you go on the stage, right, you pump up a little bit. So now you're sweating. So 2 days, no shower.
Oh my God, this sounds
2 spray tans,
disgusting.
sweating, and then before you go on stage, somebody lubes you up like a turkey with Crisco butter, right? Because you look kind of brownish like a turkey. And then they lube you up before you go get out, because you got to look glossy before you get out there.
You smack your ass before you go out there?
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Get after.
So you get sprayed up. This is like basically baby oil, right? So now, 2 days, no shower, spray tans both days, sweaty, lubed up, go on the stage, pose, look like a jackass.
So let me get this right. You walk out on stage, are there judges and there's like an auditorium of people sitting there looking at you as well?
Yes.
Or is it just a panel of judges?
No. It's open seating. Yeah.
Was it packed or was it like empty?
The first one that I did was...
It would be so depressing, bro, if it was empty.
The first one that I did was relatively crowded in the first part, but it gets packed at night. So that's the problem. Is now you're sitting in all that stuff for 2 days, being lubed up, sweaty, the whole thing, go on stage. You got to wait hours to figure out if you make the call back to come back on stage and compete for the top 5. And if you do, hours later, so usually this takes place in the morning, kind of mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
And then the finals will take place at night, which means you sit around all day long.
This is crazy.
For the full second day, being lubed up, all this shit, and you just wait. And then if you go out, you got to pump up again, lube up again, and get back on stage again.
Right.
And you can't really eat a whole lot during this time. I mean, you might have some rice cakes and some peanut butter, stuff like that, just keep your levels up. But you can't make too many adjustments until I can go to In-N-Out. So the first show I did, I got so frustrated that I just left and went straight to In-N-Out. Didn't even stay for the finals, even though apparently I made it to the top 5.
No shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I got a call from my coach saying, "Where the fuck are you?" I was like, that's going to be a problem, Chief."
Yeah.
He's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because I'm on the way back home and I just had a lot of In-N-Out."
Yeah. I came in and did what I wanted to do.
He's like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Bro, I couldn't do it.
Wow.
I just couldn't do it. I felt dirty as shit."
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it.
I couldn't.
Dude, I'm the kind of guy where
hypochondriac
if my nails just get a little bit too long, I have to cut them. I can't imagine feeling like dirty like that.
Bro, it was a new level of dirt.
Yeah.
Like I've done like Tough Mudders and shit where I had like dirt in my ear and my nose, stuff like that. This felt worse.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe we should talk about some financial stuff. You know?
So what we got for the show today? Let's turn it into a fitness podcast real quick.
Yeah, this is going to be a really heavy real estate episode. I'm going to be fully clear on that. I think a lot of people have asked Saied and I about the rates dropping.
What that means for them in the housing market. Yeah,
so we've got some theories here. A lot of this will be conjecture, and a lot of this will be based on some things we think are really tangible to look at. So rather than tell you exactly 100% what we think in the beginning, we'll kind of get there towards the end. I think what's best is that we'll tell you all the things we know, good, bad, and ugly. Kind of give you some ideas to think about and ponder on your own, and then we'll tell you where we think at the end of the show where it's going. That being said, no one knows.
No one knows.
No one really knows.
And there's some interesting things that will be transpiring over the next few years that I want to actually bring up and get your opinion on live.
My opinion live.
Yeah.
As opposed to my dead opinion.
I don't want to get you like ready for it.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you've heard about it though.
That's fine. I don't need to get pumped up and lubed up to go on stage all the time.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll talk about home prices in all the major U.S. cities except for one. Big pivot in one. Should be no shocker if you listen to the show. We'll talk about home price growth by city as well. We'll talk a little bit about an interesting article from Newsweek titled Let's see here. What the hell was it? I'm lying. Wow, I got to called. Oh, End of the Middle Class Dream. I knew the title on this one was important. Which kind of dovetails into what we've been talking about on the show in previous shows, where we talked about the potential loss of the middle class, where you're going to have a working class and a wealthy class if we continue to see things go in the direction that we're going as far as home values go. So that was an interesting article, which kind of really dove down into some of the things we've been saying conceptually from a neutral third-party perspective person who I presume doesn't listen to the show, or maybe does. You never know.
Has to.
Newsweek, you never know. We'll talk a little bit more about where home prices are expected to go, but where they are relative to today, and what that means from a historical perspective with a bit of a Newsweek article again. And then we'll talk about pending home sales. So again, a lot of home sale stuff. And then we're going to get into some treasury stuff, get into some of a little bit of the red flag warning signs, and then we'll cap it with a recession outlook from RBC, which I think was a really interesting outlook. Then we have a review.
We have a solid review. Written very well.
Yeah, very well written review. Somebody was very thoughtful.
Exactly.
It's almost like they asked ChatGPT to listen to the show and just make a review for the show that it listened to.
Yeah, it left out 66% of the members.
All right, kids. Chart of the day, capping up the beginning of the show here. Let's go with home prices are up in all major U.S. cities except for one. Should come as no surprise to you that one is Austin, Texas.
Part of that Sun Belt region.
Yeah, which was also the first first city in the country to have price declines in the last several months, and they had the most percentage decline in the last several months. So that should come as no surprise that they are the one that did not kind of conclude that way. So from the article, home affordability has gotten worse in most major cities, except for Austin, Texas. Of the 50 largest real estate markets in the United States, Austin is the only city to post a decline in home prices for the 12 months ending in November, according to a report by online realtor Redfin.
Yeah.
In that time, home sales prices in the metro Austin area dropped by 6.2%, with homes selling for a median of $424,990, which is incredibly high.
Which is right in line with the median sales price for homes across the nation.
Slightly higher, but yeah.
Yeah, slightly higher.
The median sales price has fallen for 5 consecutive months, too, in Austin. So we always knew that Austin was a bit of an outlier. The charts that we can show you when Haroon is working on the edit here.
Mm-hmm.
See, making work for him even though he's not here. We'll show you a pretty interesting decline for Austin specifically, and then it'll show you the rest of the markets. But I think what's more important to note from the article, though, is that we saw, as rates rose, you saw values come down a little bit in the previous months leading up to November.
Mm-hmm.
And that was big news we talked about on the show. And now you've seen rates come down, and then you've seen values go back up.
Yeah.
Which I know a lot of people on the show are going, "What, Chris, you guys thought values were going to come down, and now they're not. Why are you guys talking about this? It kind of proves you wrong." No, it doesn't. What it does show is there is a relationship with affordability that drives demand.
Yes.
So again, demand without affordability is not in fact demand. And what did you see when affordability got worse? Demand went down, values went down. It had zero to do with additional inventory coming online.
Right.
It had everything to do with the price of things getting so expensive people could not afford to buy, so people didn't buy and values went down. So don't let people tell you that inventory is the sole driver.
Right, exactly. At the end of the day, it is an affordability crisis that we're dealing with, and we fully anticipate that when the 10 years starts to creep back up again, rates will continue to creep back up again, which will, keep that affordability crisis intact. But to Chris's point, this is the question that I've been getting nonstop. Like an example right here from one of our listeners, you hear about home prices going up when they start slashing rates next year. What's your take? Buy now or wait? And what he means by that is the Fed has projected that there's going to be 3 interest rate cuts next year. But here's the problem. They've also come out and said that we're going to hold rates higher for longer. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be a wait and see approach for them. If there's anything we should know is that you can't really trust what they say. Okay?
They've had a really well-documented history of being inaccurate.
Not only inaccurate, but using, their platform to try to, steer confidence and what, manage expectations.
It's by design, yeah.
It's that intentional. That's why they host those post-game press conferences, right? Not basketball reference, but it is basketball reference.
I get it.
So, for instance, like they initially came out and said that inflation was transitory. It wasn't, right? They initially came out 2 years ago and said that you can expect 7 rate hikes, right, for us to be able to manage this inflation problem. That was wrong. They did 11.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a huge difference, not just for, us consumers, but for businesses and corporations across the nation that are trying to plan for the upcoming future. You tell me that you're only going to do 7, but you do 4 more. That could be a difference of a full percentage point or maybe more, given whether you do 50 basis points or 75 basis points, right?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest misconception too. When they talk about 11 increases 25 basis points is a lot different than 11 increases of multiple basis points.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that's the thing. So even though the Fed has come out and said in their minutes we project 3 rate cuts, through this year, and the market's out there saying, no, we don't believe you. We think you're going to do 6. I mean, it remains to be seen. If inflation doesn't get down to where they want, core inflation's at 4%. Okay, that's still double their target range. So they may still hold higher for longer.
Yeah, I think there's a good possibility of that. I do think that the market is being very, very bullish.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people out there in the media, in particular traditional media, really kind of touting that we've recovered, everything's good. I have a theory and a phrase I'd like to coin officially.
Oh, higher standard
first
phrase.
show of the year.
Okay,
right?
Let's go.
I haven't talked this through with you. I apologize.
It's okay.
All right, so the 1929 recession, the Great Depression,
if you will, yeah,
was one of the most impactful economic events in American history, right? Followed a war. There's just a lot there to unpack. And
the Fed held interest rates too high for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what even Ben Bernanke came out and said.
My man Ben.
Yeah.
Straight gangbanging.
I know. Nobel.
Yeah.
Laureate.
Your people.
My guy.
Yeah. Well, then we had the Great Recession, right? I believe we are walking into something that will be known as the Great Correction. Look at that. I'm also a rapper. But I think it's true. I think when you look at all the things that have happened, right? The Great Depression, the Great Recession, and now this Great Correction, if I'm correct, it comes down to we have an overvalued market. Not only the stock market, but the real estate market. And you need to have a correction. Otherwise, you're going to wind up fundamentally changing the economics of the American population indefinitely.
Yeah, exactly. Asset valuations, they're pumped up right now, and with the amount of cash that's sitting on the sidelines, because right, like when the Fed raises their interest rates, now people are able to earn more on their treasury bills, on their savings accounts, on their CDs, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, why risk putting my money into the market when I can get guaranteed 5% over here, 5.25%, whatever, right? Now, when the Fed decides to cut rates and banks start to pull down those interest rates that they're giving out, well, let me take that cash that I put it on the sideline, put it back into the market. That could pump it back up again, only to cause a greater correction later.
Right, and that's likely to be what I think is going to happen. We'll talk about that in the Treasury section towards the end of the articles here, but let me put it to you like this. I believe, so the conspiracy theorists out there would tell you that this is all by design. They want the 1% to be the wealthy class. They want everybody else working for them. Okay, fine. Maybe that is. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that necessarily is that clear and directed. I think functionally it happens, but I don't think it's this malicious intent by, this mysterious group of individuals working in the background to make that happen. I just think that's the way the money plays out. That's capitalism. And people are always going to try to rise to the top and do that on the backs of other people. Mm-hmm. But at some point, the consumer, the average American is going to be like, fuck this. I'm not playing this game anymore. It's too expensive to buy a home. I'm going to go rent. Fuck, I'm not even looking anymore.
Yep.
And I think you're seeing that paradigm shift now already. Again, keep in mind, real estate data is a lagging indicator. So it's 6 months behind.
Right.
So I don't think we've really seen the totality of the data that's coming out. And the fact that we've heard so much about the real estate market being overhyped as hot and progressively growing, I think is a stupid early and a cautionary red flag to me.
Yeah.
I think that's people buying into the bullish market. We talked about on previous shows what that really means.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Kabisi letter again, one of my favorite X pages. 2023 home price growth by city. Detroit, number one, 8.1% up on the year. That one actually surprised me. Detroit was a lot of Motor City had a lot of trouble when all the automotive manufacturers left the city. San Diego did not surprise me, 7.2% positive. New York, 7% positive. Chicago, 6.9. Miami, 6.7. I thought Miami would be the top.
Is this year-over-year figures?
2023 home price growth.
Yeah, okay.
So year to date. At this point in time,
Yeah.
year over year, going all the way down to the lowest, number 15 on this list. I could not believe it. San Francisco up 1.6%. The city needs Batman, and they're still up 1.6%.
God damn.
People are shitting outside restaurants in front of Dave Chappelle, and they're still up.
I don't see the draw anymore, man.
According to Case-Shiller, the 20 largest U.S. metros rose for a 9th straight month to an all-time high. The median home price in the United States is up 4.9% since last year, the biggest jump since December of 2022. A lack of supply has been cited as the primary driver.
Yeah, and for the listeners out there that don't know, the Case-Shiller Index is an index that tracks these home prices in these large metropolitan areas. There's different ones. There's like one for the top 20 and then 50, right, and so on. And this is the go-to index that people go to track these these stats.
So, how I mentioned a few moments ago about at some point the general U.S. consumer is going to be like, fuck this?
Yeah.
All right. So this is an article from Newsweek, and this is the one that I referenced being very similar sounding to our concerns about the impacts to the middle class.
So you're saying that they're going to say, fuck this, like, I can't afford this, so fuck it, or fuck this, I can't time this market, I don't even want to deal with it?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah. I think a little bit of both. I think a little bit of it's going to be, you can't have everybody saying, you got to buy now. Oh my God, value's going to go up because, if rates are going to go down, value's going to go up. You got to buy now because if you don't buy now, rates are going to go up. You're using fear to drive people to buy at a time where they can barely afford to live.
Right. And I think there's the misconception here that I think is going on is people look at their home as an investment because it is for most people their largest investment.
Which I get.
But it shouldn't. But it shouldn't be, right?
No.
You should be looking at it as a utility. And we've recently put out a reel on this on the Instagram page, right? And which I thought it did pretty well.
You did make the reel, so yeah.
It's always a good time to buy if you can afford it, right? And that's it. And you need it, right? Yeah. So if that's the case, then you should get it because over decades it will provide you equity, is what you said on that episode.
It's 100% something I stand by. Yeah.
Right. And it's like if you're buying a house to get some return on your investment, there's other avenues that you can get a better return on your investment.
But you shouldn't do it if you have to sacrifice so much of your lifestyle and your living situation that you're not going to be happy.
Right. And with rates where they are now, the rule of thumb used to be you should stay in your home for 5 years or own it for 5 years. So you can, get some equity back on it. Now it's looking like more like 7-8 years.
Yeah.
So it's like you really want to get tied down to an investment like that. Like you go do something else.
I just did an interesting interview with, God damn it, I'm a terrible human being. I think it was Market Watch, where they had some interesting data on Gen Z, the 3 top reasons that Gen Z was refinancing. And Gen Z is an interesting gen because I think the oldest there in that age group was like 24, 26, somewhere in there.
Okay.
So when you think about the context of it's like anybody's 14, like that range-ish.
Right.
So not all of them are homeowners, not all of them work full-time, but the preponderance of what they're refinancing their homes for or getting HELOCs for right now is number 1, to consolidate debt, number 2, home improvement, and number 3, medical debt.
Yeah, man.
And I'm like, okay, I get the home improvement because if you're lucky enough to have a house in that age demographic, you probably have a super low rate. You don't want to get another property that's bigger, so you're just going to pull out your equity, get a home equity line of credit. I get that one. But the other 2 are really concerning.
Yeah, you gotta fix a lot of things before you do the other 2.
So let's go into this next article from Newsweek, the Periscope news option, opinion, analysis, whatever section. But basically, this is the one that talks about the middle class.
Okay.
But about 75% of homes currently on the market are out of reach for those in the middle class, according to the National Association of Realtors.
Yeah,
the National Association of Realtors, whose job it is to sell you on this stuff, is saying that 75% of the homes on the market are out of reach.
Yeah, because they're not making enough money, right?
But goddamn.
Yeah, they're not making enough money to afford current prices or that the prices that they're listed for are overinflated.
This is a quote. The biggest asset most people are ever going to own is a home, Nicole Bouchard, a senior economist at Zillow, told Newsweek. Home ownership is really that financial key that helps unlock stability and wealth preservation across generations. Yes, For once, I fucking agree with Zillow.
Factual.
Facts.
No cap.
Bars.
All of them.
All the bars.
All the bars.
Yes, it is. And this is why I'm wildly concerned about the middle class. But we have another one. Another quote from the article, same article. Buying a home essentially forces you into a savings plan, Danielle Hale, chief economist at Realtor.com, told Newsweek. When you pay your mortgage, you're paying down some of the debt, you're paying off the principal of the mortgage, and then you are also paying off the interest. Okay, stupid rationale, but essentially you're getting home equity appreciation, and yes, you are paying down the principal, and that money is money you will get back upon a sale.
Right, but the problem is with right now where interest rates are, less of that payment every month is going towards the principal, and more of it is going towards interest.
Yes.
Hence why I said earlier, you're going to have to stay in your home for at least 7 to 8 years now, as opposed to the rule of thumb that used to be 5 years.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah.
So capping off this article, most people making a median annual salary of $75,000 a year, which is what 51% of Americans earn, can afford a home that costs about $256,000. Research from the National Association of Realtors and Realtor.com from earlier this year showed. However, the median home price in the United States is $431,000, according to the Federal Reserve economic data. Yeah.
Damn, son.
So that's a problem.
Big problem. So to piggyback on what you said a little bit earlier on, I think you said the Gen Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this theory going around about a silver tsunami. You heard about this?
No, but it sounds sexy as fuck.
Sounds sexy as fuck.
Yeah. You know?
I know that's a good name, right? So
sounds like a great sushi restaurant name.
seriously,
Let's make that happen.
So 10,000 baby boomers a day are turning 65. Okay, a day.
I hate these generational titles, by the way, but okay.
Yeah, the titles are crazy. But if you think about it, it's crazy. So 10,000 baby boomers a day are turning 65.
Okay.
All right.
But
by 2030, all baby boomers, right? That's not too far away, 6 years from now. All baby boomers will be 65 years old. So we're talking about retirement age.
Yeah, no. See, I take a big fucking...
Yes.
I think this is part of the employment numbers problem, too.
Mm-hmm.
You used to have a retirement age that was somewhere between 65 and 70. I know a lot of people 70 plus that are in the workforce.
Because they have to.
They have to, number one. And number two, human longevity is just going longer.
Right.
We are all about anti-aging. We're all about We're all chemically enhanced. Well, I mean, those of us.
I mean, some of us
who are
natural.
chemically enhanced. You know what I mean? Chubby cheeks.
It's a good time. So
it's a good time to talk about our sponsor, TranscendCompany.com. Go to TranscendCompany.com/THSP, and they got a 15% sale. I think actually by the time you hear this, it'll still be going on, but you get a 15% off of all of the, I want to say fat loss, weight loss stuff that they're doing over there.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to dabble into that just yet, I mean, you can talk to the representatives over there. I've personally talked to them. They're very well versed.
Did you get your blood work done, by the way?
Yeah. So, no, I have it scheduled to happen at the start of the year.
Bro, you had that scheduled last year.
Yeah, bro, it's been a crazy end of the year for us, okay? It's been wild. Okay. With the kids being off from school.
Okay.
Kids being off from school. Fine. I mean, I got the kids. What am I going to do?
I tell you that I'm on I think today's what day? Saturday?
Yes.
So tomorrow I get my package from Transcend. I've got Motzi and Testamorelin, I think is Testa. Yeah.
Did the wife get her stuff too?
Yeah, it's coming in the same package as mine. She's taking a smaller dosage, but she's taking the one I told you about earlier, which is for basically stomach fat loss and appetite suppressant. And I'm taking Motzi, which is more of a metabolic enhancer. That'll kind of kick off me really just kind of getting back in shape.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So, I mean, you can talk to the representatives over there. They're very knowledgeable, and they can walk you through. They're not pushy at all, which is what I liked about them. Let's just get you started with some blood work to see what we're dealing with, right? So, not a bad idea to just go over there and start that process. New year, new you.
Sold that hard, huh?
Gang, gang.
You felt like getting into it?
So by 2030, right, you're going to have all the baby boomers going to be 65 years older. AARP, came out with their own study, right? Their own survey.
You're going to make me do this. I don't want to fucking do this. You're going to make me do this. There has been nobody I've ever known in my entire life, and you already know where I'm going with this.
Why do I know AARP stuff?
You're the fucking guy who, when you were 15 years old, who was the only person I knew looking forward to getting an AARP card with a fucking discount.
I need that card in the mail, bro.
You're the weirdest human being. I can see you at the movie theater coveting the discount for the AARP shit.
Come on, dog. Cut that price. That's what I would say.
I get one of these, homie.
Yeah.
Let's go. Click, click.
So they said 50% of the people out there above that in their group are downsizing their homes.
Yeah, because they got so much equity in the homes.
Mm-hmm.
The values have gone up. They can buy another home in cash, use the other cash to, fund their lifestyle.
So think about it, and we know that the fact that it's 10 a.m. and I got this shit on deck right here. 74% of homeowners out there are 50 years or older.
It's 12:30, bro. We've been fucking around for 2 hours.
Right? So you think about it, can you see a world where, look, we're walking into troubling times potentially and people need to downsize. You're saying people need to tap into their equity. Now might be the best time if they feel like we're at the peak and there is going to be this correction, right? That they're going to need to sell. And could we see, sometime in 2024, maybe, Q3, Q4, where we have actually more sellers than buyers?
So I think tapping into equity is a bad idea if done wrong. Home equity lines of credit, like for example, what Gen Z is being forced to do, could be very, very dangerous. Whereas if you're selling your home, buying another home in cash, and you happen to be lucky in that situation, that's great. Capitalize in the market, take a little bit of higher rate right now, still better than historical average, 8% mortgage rate.
But you're probably going to have to move away from where you're currently at.
Maybe, but I mean, there's a lot of people doing that. Like to move out of California, for example. Celebrities left and right are moving, going to like Las Vegas and Summerlin, stuff like that. Or Florida. I mean, there's tons of great states you can go to and get a better tax situation. Texas, another great one. So, look, I get it. There's a lot of people that are doing that for all sorts of reasons, whether that's just career or just choice of lifestyle or politics. But let me read you some data, and I will back into why I think this is a very dangerous kind of balance of tapping into equity. This from Business Insider: home prices to heat up after Fed rate cuts, with 88% of the market overvalued.
Yeah, man.
I don't give a shit what market you're talking about. When somebody says 88% of it is overvalued,
yes,
that's a problem.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
But what makes it overvalued?
That's not good. No.
But what makes it overvalued?
Well, people are paying more for it than it's worth, Saied.
Yeah, than it should be worth, right? Because at the end of the day, the market is deciding. If people are listing their homes and if somebody's coming out to buy, then God damn it, somebody paid for it. That's the market, right?
All right, so this is going to be the red flag portion of the episode, all right? The projected increase in home prices would come as 88% of the metro areas in the United States housing market were overvalued as of the second quarter, according to Fitch. Fitch is a rating agency. They're a data aggregator. I'm a big fan of their data. So yeah, they're a big player. They're like Moody's or like S&P. They're pretty big up the name in the industry, and people use their data pretty frequently. So them saying this is not just somebody random ass saying it. This is not like Grant Cardone talking about the real estate market. This is somebody who actually does this shit for a living.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a little change from 89% a year ago and up from 73% in the first quarter of last year. In addition, the margin by which homes were overvalued widened. Fitch found that homes were 9.4% overvalued in this year's second quarter, up from 7.8% at the end of 2022. Not everyone shares Fitch's price projections. For instance, Realtor.com,
shocker,
sees lower mortgage rates slowing demand as buyers won't feel rushed to buy before rates rise further, resulting in home price dip of 1.7% in 2024.
So they're saying they don't see it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I know, curveball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to point out a little fun fact. When has Realtor.com ever not been hyper aggressive on the economy?
Right.
So they've always thought values were going to go up way more than they actually did. And if they're saying a 1.7% dip in 2024, how optimistic do you think they're being?
Yeah, it's probably more optimistic, right? It's going to be much more than that.
I'm just saying, if you read between the lines, they say, oh, shit.
It's their job to be optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not being so optimistic. They also have to deal with the National Association of Realtors getting hit with, I always say realtor, it's realtor. Realtor. I can't ever, because
just say it fast enough.
There should be another vowel.
Just say it fast enough. Maybe they won't catch it. That's what I do.
No, people always.
That's what I do.
Like, especially like the realtors who are angry that I talk about shit that they have a real personal opinion about.
Yeah.
They'll DM me and be like, at least I can say realtor right, bitch. That's happened at least 5 times this year.
Yeah. And
I'm always like, all right, look, you got me.
Right.
I throw in vowels into words that should have them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the thing.
Something for everyone to keep in mind. So, we've been dealing with this inflation problem, and I know it sounds like, we're on the tail end of this now and we're coming, it's manageable. They brought it down. inflation is compounding year over year over year.
Yeah.
So when it was 9.1% and then it dropped down to, let's say, 6%, and now we're at 4%, it's not that prices of things have come down. They're not going up as fast. That's all that means.
Yeah.
Right. And so these things are adding up on top of each other. So I think what needs to happen is that this market needs to come down significantly in order for the Fed to decide to cut rates 6 times by the end of this year, like the market has projected.
There's actually a projection out there now saying 7, by the way. ING was the leader with 6. Now there's somebody else who's come out and said 7. So, yeah. So are you co-signing the Great Correction theory?
Yes. I think
that.
Well, here's the thing. I think that it needs to happen.
You can say you love me. It's fine.
I do love you.
Oh.
I think it's needed. I think it has to happen. Look, it doesn't benefit me. It doesn't benefit, the company that I work for. It doesn't benefit me personally, right? To say that, but I think that it needs to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? So
I like it when you co-sign me. Makes you feel all warm and fuzzy. From Yahoo Finance, U.S. pending home sales stuck at a 22-year low despite falling rates. Pending home sales, or homes under contract to be sold, is a leading indicator of the health of the housing market. There's a chart that we will place later on in the show, somewhere in this vicinity. Yeah, there you go. Contract signings for the U.S. existing homes remained unchanged in November from the previous month, even as mortgage rates scaled back from a 23-year high. The index for pending home sales stayed at 71.6 in November. The National Association of Realtors released Thursday. The index reading was the lowest since the index founding in 2001. An index level of 100 is equal to the pace of a contract activity in 2001. The results were below the 0.9% increase that economists polled by Bloomberg had estimated. The lack of change in the index, an early indicator of the housing market's health, shows how some buyers may be hesitant to re-enter the market despite the dip in mortgage rates last month. It may also reflect seasonal trends, as some buyers opt to wait until the holidays are over to return to their purchase plans.
Yeah, I think that's the big takeaway from this right now, too, is definitely there's some seasonality in play here. Right.
Yeah, but November numbers are out, and they seem to suggest a healthy job market. I mean, granted, that's Thanksgiving-ish.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're going to see enough of a swing in December alone to pivot valuations back down.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's the key takeaway from all these different indexes, right? We talked about Case-Shiller earlier, and what you look at this one, the pending home sales, it kind of lets you know where people are at in their stance in the current market, whether they want to jump in or they don't want to jump in, or they want to jump out.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Well, and I wouldn't really want to buy it in the holidays anyway, so I get that.
Yeah.
Another
who
one
wants to move in the holidays?
My brother just did.
Wait, he moved?
Yeah, he moved to got a different apartment in a different city. Went from Irvine to Mission Viejo. Yeah. And they moved literally on Christmas Day.
Irvine's out of control, man. I'm here. I hear a lot of people that are what they're paying for rent out here. It's insane.
I know. And then they how much you pay for your mortgage? And I'm like $1,700 a month.
Yeah, man. I had somebody over last night that was telling me that they pay $3,300 for a 1-bedroom.
Yeah. And
they said they want to move into a 2-bedroom, and it's over $4,000. I'm like, man.
Yeah. My brother's paying $3,700 for a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Mind you, my mortgage payment, including PI, TI, HOA, everything all in is $2,100 or $2,000, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, damn.
It's a fucked up situation.
That's not good.
It's not good. Yeah, I would want to get out of here ASAP.
10-year Treasury yield sees biggest December drop since 2008 crisis.
Here we go.
The U.S. 10-year Treasury yield dropped 48 basis points in December. This is also what brought mortgage rates back down.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest December drop since the 2008 financial crisis and follows a 53 basis point downtrend in November. So, the yield curve inversion, both the 2-year and the 3-month, has been a red flag indicator of a recessionary economy for years.
Right.
It would not seem like a stretch of logic for me that this yield curve inversion would last longer after an unprecedented 14 years of artificial interest rate deflation. if we've slowed the economy at the longest pace and the longest cadence we ever have, to stretch out one of the most prosperous economic times we've ever had, far beyond the average of 7 to 10 years, it makes sense that these indicators that are normally lagging, these red flags that are normally symbolic, would take longer to convert to a recessionary economy. So none of this really surprises me as taking longer, and people going, oh my God, we beat it. And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, we didn't beat it.
Yeah.
It's just going to take longer to get to the other side because we walk so far in one direction. It's going to take you a long time to walk back.
Yeah, that's a good analogy right there. I mean, so just to recap really quickly, the 10-year treasury, that's the most sought after treasury of all the treasuries, right?
I see what you did there. I got it.
You got it?
Let it go.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that's the one that is, closely tracked and follows along with where mortgage rates lie, right? So,
well, your earlier comments in the show, the question that somebody had, the Fed fund's going to cut rates.
Yes.
Does that mean that we're going to see mortgage rates drop and then values skyrocket up? No.
Because the thought process there is they think that because mortgage rates will drop, people will come back out into the market and there'll be more buyers again, hence putting upward pressure on home prices.
And that's people mistaking causation and correlation. So we saw Fed funds rise, the cost for banks to borrow overnight. That pushed deposit rates up, was essentially zeroed in the last 14 years because you weren't really getting paid for deposits, to now, in some cases, 5%, competing with treasuries. And now you've seen the shift in and out of the banking system from high yield savings accounts and money market accounts and CDs accounts into the treasuries because they were competing. Right? Now treasuries have dipped. People are rushing back into CDs thinking, okay, well, if they're going to cut rates next year, guess what? That means those savings accounts are going to go down, CD rates are going to go down, so now's the best time for a CD. And I've got several quotes in the media you can find of me telling you that is in fact true. Now is your best time to buy. I'm plugging the shit out of myself.
I was going to say, damn, son.
I'm out here plugging.
Hey, we're going to plug these articles in the show notes.
I'm on CNET. I'm on, Go Banking Rates. You come find me, homie.
Forbes.
Forbes. Yeah. I feel very weird about saying Forbes.
Because we've tackled a lot of people that have made that cover.
Of dudes, yeah. Like I've been like, oh, that motherfucker paid for his shit. Let me be clear, okay? I have not paid for a single article I've been quoted in, all right?
Yeah.
Just for anybody out there who's like, and they actually, people asking me like, hey man, like who's managing your PR? Me. That's who.
Yeah.
Who do I trust? Me.
Okay.
That's who.
Okay, man.
So, but yeah, I don't pay for any of those things. That's just me talking to members of the press, and if they want to use my quote, they will, and if they don't, they don't. I would say 40% of the time they probably use it. 60% of the time they don't. And then I never know if they're going to publish an article. It's very rare someone actually sends me a link.
Yeah.
So I get a Google alert because my name's tracked on my Google thing, and I'll just get an alert saying, oh, they use it.
Oh, that's how you find out normally.
That's how I find out. Yeah, it's usually
that's a fucked up way to find out.
It's a fucked up way to find out.
It's like, because there's got to be a little bit of anxiety built into that. Wait, what will happen? Why is my name out there?
Well, and the weird part about it is like depending on how strong the media source is, it might get syndicated out. So like the one I did for today, got picked up all over the world. The one on Black Ink versus Blue Ink for celebrities got picked up. So it got picked up on like everybody else, and then it goes like foreign like pages start picking you up.
I'm sorry.
It's weird, but sometimes that happens, and you can be on like all sorts of foreign pages, and they translate it into different languages, and they use it. Or like Go Banking Rates, which pushes to Yahoo Finance. So there's several different articles that come out. Stuff like that happens. What really weirds me out is what happened a couple of days ago. Is I get an alert, and it's on this page called BNN, and I'm like, all right. And I think it's like a.
Are you trying to, when you first get it, are you trying to play with the acronyms? Like, what the fuck is this?
I do that all the time. I'm like,
would it be? Let me ask you a question. What do you think BNN was?
I thought it was like British News Network.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not dirty like you. I'm not thinking some nasty ass shit, Ray.
Why you gotta say nasty shit, Ray?
Because I'm a nasty motherfucker. Yeah. No, I didn't know what it was. I think it was an Indian-based news site, though. But they misquoted me. Like, I didn't say any of the shit they said that I said. I don't even know where they got my name. I didn't give that interview. They also messed up my title.
Yeah.
Said I was CEO.
You didn't correct it, though.
I almost said it to Scott and be like, hey, bro, this is the way we're going to let you know India told you first. But yeah, I don't even know where it came from. So it's weird how some of that stuff just pops up.
How funny, man.
Yeah, you do enough articles that happens. But all right. Well, let's get back to the I want to cap this off because I think there's some really 6 interesting things. So from Business Insider, Recession Outlook 2024, 6 reasons why 2024 downturn looms. This from RBC. Okay. So RBC, Royal Bank of Canada. by the way. But this is RBC Global Asset Management, which I think is Royal Bank Canada Asset Management. I don't know. We'll see. But they have 6 things that I thought were really, really good points for just all of us to think about. I know there's a lot of people saying, hey, we made it. We beat all these things. I don't think so. But let me give you 6 points and you decide for yourself.
Okay.
Number 1, the Fed's rate hikes have gone high enough to trigger a downturn. The current policy is, quote, deeply in restrictive territory, end quote. And that stance may no longer be appropriate if the economy continues to slow or inflation continues to cool.
So let's break that down a little bit.
Yeah.
What makes the current policy deeply in restrictive territory?
Well, I have a lot of experience going deep
Very
into
deep.
restrictive territory.
Wow, that's so good.
Places you're not supposed to go. So as a connoisseur, we're going deep into restrictive. Can't do it. Fuck.
It's too easy.
It was there.
God damn, that was so good.
I had to take it.
You have to.
You know, so they don't want you to go, but you have to go. It's restricted.
Oh, man.
Someday, people are gonna be like, you know, that show's amazing, but the dick puns are even better. Oh man, we took an unusual cadence of federal funds rate increases. Historically, all of the longest and widest increases we've seen, going back to the 70s, actually even before then, have always been consistent, consecutive increases: 25 basis points, 25 basis points, 25 basis points, or in the most aggressive stance, had been 50 basis points, 50 basis points, 50 basis points. So while we've seen historical evidence of the Fed increasing interest rates at a wider gap, so a larger set of increases over time, those increases were consistently done every single meeting. Mm-hmm. This is the first time in history we've gone 25, 25, 50, 50, 75, 75, this kind of bell curve shape we've talked about on many, many previous shows. So that has put us at a much faster clip to get to a different rate than where we started.
Yes.
Which was near zero anyway. Right?
And also makes it very difficult for people to plan, right? When you come out and you say, we're going to do 7 rate hikes, but then out of nowhere you do 11, I don't care what you say, those 4 months or those 4 meetings where you do, increase it higher than what you initially said, that's not enough time for businesses to properly plan and make sure that they position themselves to they can succeed.
Yeah, and one of those businesses, chiefly among other businesses, is the U.S. government.
Yes, exactly.
And the U.S. government has been unable to cope with the strain of the additional debt load that they have to pay.
Right, and these debts they renew and they adjust.
Yep.
Right to the current rates, and the big problem here for corporations across the nation is they have a lot of, let's say they have revolving debt that's adjusting that they're going to need to renew, or they have their 5-year term debt that could be adjusting in the next year to 2 years that they're going to have to renew. And you're like, they can't afford the higher debt payments.
No.
So that's why a big problem, or a big reason why you probably haven't seen the unemployment figures spike up yet, because they haven't had to face this problem yet head on.
Well, I also think people have 2 jobs, number 1. And number 2, I think that people aren't retiring. So I think those 2 alone are swinging the numbers in and of themselves. And I also think the numbers are wrong. They're fucking just patently wrong.
Yes.
They've been revised down God knows how many times. Number 2 on this list of 6 things, a souring economic data suggests further weakness ahead. Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. There's lots of data that's coming out that shows that things aren't exactly gumdrops and lollipops.
Yeah.
The unemployment data not moving to where the Fed needs it to go. It's actually going the wrong direction right now.
Yeah.
Seems to suggest that if the Fed is looking at that we got a problem. Yeah, inflation's going the right way, and it is trending down, but there are other indicators like the yield curve inversion.
Yes.
Which we'll get more to in a moment. The firm's recessionary scorecard is flashing warning signals. For example, the 2-year and 10-year yield curves are inverted, as well as the 3-month and 10-year curves, both pointing to a recession. The scorecard also shows financial conditions and lending standards have tightened. I don't know. I know a couple bankers,
You know some? I know some.
Yeah, and I would say lending standards have begun to tighten, whereas earlier in the year you were looking at just people deploying less cash. Mm-hmm. It wasn't them tightening standards as much as they just weren't lending as much, and now it's just harder to get along.
It's hard to get for like all facets, right? Not just home buyers, but so businesses. This is what we're talking about. So when these these loans for corporations adjust, and now they're coming back to the bank having to deal with higher interest rates and tighter guidelines, they're not going to lend out, right?
Nope.
So it's going to be interesting to see do you think that, because I think 75% of mortgages across the nation aren't done at banks. They're done, right? Are they going to adjust?
Post Dodd-Frank, it really shifted from banks to non-bank lenders.
To non-bank, so you think like Rocket Mortgage, right? So you're thinking, are they also going to be tightening their guidelines?
Well, so that's the interesting thing about the non-bank lender space is they really get impacted more by rate variability than they do about that, because they're selling off. Most of them aren't going to portfolio them and hold them on their books. They're originating them and selling them off into the secondary market.
Okay.
So when rates start to go the other way, it could very dramatically impact their business. That's why you saw them slow down dramatically as rates started to rise, because they're trying to sell off what was on their books. That's why you saw so many of them have troubles. A great example is Loan Depot.
Yeah.
Right. Their profit margins went to just garbage. So I think you're going to see them have a lot more strain in how they handle things. But a lot of them learned from the Great Recession and how they did things.
Okay.
They kept a lot more liquidity in hand. They have a better portfolio of servicing assets, which create the income. And as rates go up, their servicing portfolios become more valuable. So there's a lot more mechanisms for them on the secondary market to really kind of manage their cash flow on their balance sheet. But yeah, I think it's going to impact them dramatically too. Yeah.
Right. And for the listeners that, wonder, okay, well, if the Fed's taking a wait and see approach and new data comes out, they say they're going to hold. Okay, well, maybe we need to tighten again. This is the reason why you can't do that, right? You need to provide, stability in the markets and set proper expectations. So a company like Loan Depot or Rocket Mortgage, they understand that no, we've reached the peak and now we can go back into the market again if they're well capitalized. Versus like, well, we still don't know. They might raise again next month. It's like, it could be chaos.
Yeah. And until you see them actually start to cut rates, I think you're going to see a lot of speculation and a lot of things, people saying things, but a lot of companies aren't going to be prepared to move based on speculation.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to, I mean, there's going to be some people who will gamble, trying to make money on lending at the highest possible rates right now.
Yeah, it'd be the first one out there, right? Yeah.
But if you listen to the show and you're informed, you might be worried that rates are going to go the other way.
Yes.
And if they did, you deployed all your capital at a lower than market rate, or what could be market rate.
And to your point, we just talked about, the inversion of the 2-year and the 10-year, right? So if the 2-year is higher than the 10-year, and in order to come out of this for a healthy economy is the 2-year being lower than the 10-year, there's only one way to go from there. The 2-year is not going to drop lower than where the 10-year is at now. The 10-year is going to have to come up, which impacts mortgage rates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mortgage rates will have upward pressure. Number 4, RBC's business cycle model indicates the economy is vulnerable to a downturn as it's currently late in the cycle. Kind of goes on that whole path that we were on earlier where we talked about how you've been in a prolonged period of artificial interest rate deflation. If we're late in the cycle and you haven't seen a correction, like, I don't know, the Great Correction, then guess what? It says there's a probability of there being a correction because we are due for one.
Yes.
Keep in mind, economies are cyclical. There's sine waves. There's ups and there's downs. And typically speaking, every 7 to 10 years, there's up, and every 7 to 10 years, there's down.
Right.
And we haven't seen a down period. And you can't ignore 400 plus years of economic data, which suggests that this is the way things work. Right now, we've seen an uptrend, and everybody in the economy who's bullish, whether you're in real estate or you're on CNBC as a talking head or you're a stock market person or you're a wealth advisor, everyone in the market who's saying, no, bro, we're going to go to the moon, man. Rocket to the moon. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You're totally ignoring the fact that we do have down economies. Ups and downs are normal. They are healthy. Having that elasticity in the economy is what keeps things in balance, keeps life in check.
Yes.
Right? Imagine how amazingly massive my ego would be if every single day someone told me I was handsome and my wife wasn't there to say, no, bitch, you're okay.
Yeah, you average.
You know, you average.
Yeah.
You're all right for a tall guy. Stuff like that.
Okay.
You need a little bit of that. Otherwise, you're just going to be an arrogant son of a bitch.
Some humbling.
And I'm not really arrogant. I just play one on the radio.
On the radio.
Yeah, which this is not the radio.
Well, fun fact. So sometimes my in-laws will call me while I'm on the way over to the podcast. And I'll pick up, they hear that I'm driving. They go, oh, hey, how are you? I'm like, oh, I'm good. Thank you. How are you? Oh, I'm sorry. You on your way to the radio thing? I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way to the radio thing. I'm not gonna correct, like, no, it's a podcast. It's this thing that people listen to.
I can't tell you how many of my family members think the podcast is the social media clips. They're like, I listen to every single one. And I'm like,
all 20 seconds?
They're like, yeah, the last one that you did on home prices was amazing. I'm like, oh, really? What episode was it? I don't know. It was the one that came up on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
That's okay. Thank you. I appreciate you for trying.
Yeah, I've tried to convert them, and it just doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah.
Number 5, the economy is operating beyond a sustainable level, meaning that a period of subpar activity is needed to cool things down.
I've heard that somewhere.
Yeah, that sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Very well said.
Yeah, I don't know. Believe it or not, I've actually quoted that in other articles, other people. Acted like it was my own. But it was my own, because it sounds like us.
Yes, it is, yeah.
It's very chicken egg. Not really sure where to go with that. It's not plagiarism if I said it first.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I know that we've said it.
I know.
Just go find it.
Just didn't articulate it as well.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6, central banks around the world are intent on cooling inflation to pre-pandemic levels. And they will likely have to produce a period of economic weakness to curb wage growth and pricing power.
So that's the problem, right? So the Fed's dual mandate, right, is to stabilize prices and to provide maximum employment. The problem that they're facing is they need to ignore the maximum employment for the time being because they need people to lose their jobs to bring down wage inflation, right? Mm-hmm. So people don't get paid as high for their jobs, because if they keep getting paid more, then it creates upward pressure on inflation, right? Because people go out and they spend more, driving prices up even higher, right? So it's a very it's a game of chicken that the Fed is like trying to play, and they're like having to tap dance for everybody.
Gave it bok.
The bok.
So I've been constantly trying to figure out like what's going to be the catalyst. Lehman Brothers for the Great Recession. Kind of the post-war situation for the Great Depression. And I listened to an amazing Joe Rogan episode. Let's go. You know what to do.
Joe Rogan.
All right, get it out of the way. They had a great episode with Azza and another guy. I can't remember their names, but
this is the one you sent me on AI.
Yeah, they talked about AI. It was fantastic. And then I thought to myself, like, oh my God, like there it is.
Really? You think you found the catalyst?
I think I found what could be a catalyst. I don't know if it's going to be the catalyst.
It could be multiple, right? It could be a combination, a variation of a few.
You're going to have a lot of people who are displaced with the capabilities of AI. Maybe that's what drives job numbers down.
Could be.
You think about a lot of the people who are employed, like in the legal profession. There's a lot of simple legal questions you can ask AI. The AI answers fucking phenomenally well.
So you think that'll put like paralegals out of work?
Not paralegals. Paralegals actually do more than attorneys do, frankly.
I know.
They're fucking
talented. I know a few. Yeah,
really
great.
Good. I think what it's going to do is it's going to change how much you can bill. And it's going to make people go, okay, do I want to do this anymore because I can't bill as much?
Oh, interesting.
You get a lot more educated consumer coming in. But more importantly, there's a lot of jobs where people will be displaced by AI.
I think there's going to be that trust factor, though, where people aren't going to want to go to a company that uses AI. I'd rather have an individual be looking at this.
Yeah.
And I was actually having a conversation with somebody at the office that, let's take the banking industry, for example. Okay.
I thought you were going to go more of like an in and out approach, but that's fine.
In and out approach.
Strike me as an in and out guy.
Oh, I am an in and out guy. Thank you for noticing.
All my service stuck in the 1960s.
Yeah. I was actually talking to the professor about this. And our industry is pretty old and outdated, and they're not very accepting.
The banking industry is wildly old and outdated.
And they're not very accepting of new technology.
No.
So it's going to take a long time for them to be willing to adopt this new technology.
Well, you can't. The problem is you can't like dump information into AI to have AI have it as a repository outside the security and controls and privacy concerns that are regulated for the bank.
Exactly.
So the best a bank can do in this particular environment, and we actually are doing this, is you can take your policies, your procedures, your HR stuff, load it onto a private server-held AI, right?
Interesting.
And then you can ask AI, like, is it okay to have blue hair at work? Is it okay to have exposed tattoos in the office? And then it'll answer based on the employee handbook, as opposed to you having to go look at the handbook and read all this other shit.
Damn. So like, it has to be able to understand updated new social norms.
Well, every company has policies and procedures around these things, right?
Yes.
So it's going to be
is it going to tell you your policies and procedures are outdated based on what's going on, like with people around the nation?
No, I don't know that it's contemplated going that far. Actually, I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't really asked. We just kind of started going down this path. We're loading the data into it now so that it can do that.
Really interesting.
But I don't know that, because keep in mind this has to be internal. Like it can't be accessible from the web.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a whole different kind of security risk there. But we're testing it to see if it's good. And there's something that's proprietary in this. Our internal policies and procedures are not like anything that's proprietary.
Yeah,
It
okay.
doesn't have any customer information, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
that's an interesting way to test it. But I mean, I think AI might displace a lot of jobs.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, could be. I don't see it happening as quickly as what's being projected, or like the fear mongers out there.
not right away, certainly. That's
but-
why I said it could be a catalyst, not the
Right,
catalyst.
exactly. The biggest one that still stands out for me that I'm really really concerned about is depending on what the Fed does with cutting of rates and what happens with commercial real estate. That's what scares me with all the vacancies that are out there. That's still a major problem.
Dude, there was a property in San Francisco that sold for 50% of its value. There's one in Los Angeles. These are big ass multi-million-dollar, like $100 million plus buildings.
People are taking losses.
So yeah, sold for the one in LA sold for 50% of its value. And I'm looking at some of these commercial properties and I'm like, damn, if some of the biggest names in the space are selling properties for 50%,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at all this going like, it's crazy to me to think, like if you hold commercial real estate,
Mm-hmm.
okay, fine. If you hold office space,
Well, think about the rippling effects, dude. Some of this ownership in these buildings are like pension funds.
and then so somebody asked me like, Chris, like why don't they just hold on to it and wait, hold on to it for time? Why don't they have that? I'm like, because people don't have the durability.
Well,
Because you're making less money than
Yeah.
you have to. So it's costing every single money to carry that thing.
Yeah, because we talked about it, right? Either their rates have adjusted or they are going to adjust, meaning their payments on it's going to go up, and they're not making enough money to make those payments. So it's like I might as well take a 50% haircut on it now versus a 75% haircut on it in a year or two.
And see, that's what concerns me is if you have these two big ass properties in San Francisco and Los Angeles in the major metropolitan areas where home values are increasing.
Right.
Sell for 50% of their previous sell price. Now, where do they think the market's going?
Exactly.
Like, and how vacant were those properties that was an economically viable exit strategy for them?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you sell it now, you take the tax loss and the write-off now if you've got gains offset. I mean, I don't know what the tax play is, but I am deeply concerned about the market as well.
I've seen a lot of obviously articles out there that companies are forcing people like back into the offices, right?
Mm-hmm. It's not going very well, by the way.
That's my concern, right? That's what I want to look into. Like, how many people out there are working remote jobs, right, and aren't having to come back into the office? And is the sole reason that companies, not the sole reason, but a big part of the reason to force people back into the office is to not have as much vacancy? Because you think about it, it's not just that building that gets affected. There's businesses around those buildings.
There's restaurants near all of them. There's gyms. There's an entire ecosystem around all the office space.
Yeah.
When you drive up and down a freeway, if you live in a major metropolitan area, there's businesses there.
Yeah.
A lot of those businesses are not industrial or warehouse. A lot of them are office.
Yeah.
You see the names on the towers as you drive by, the mid-level high-rises as you drive by. Those are office spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do think you're going to continue to see a lot of companies, even if they make people come back in the office, they're going to go, okay, look, people are out of the office. Why don't we move our office someplace that's cheaper? Mm-hmm. And you'll see them moving, centers of work to different areas, like, I don't know, like Texas or Oklahoma or Nebraska or Kansas or North Carolina. Cheaper for them to have a property there. Cheaper cost of living for the employees.
Hey, just moving from California to Texas. Are we going to need y'all to show up at the office? We're in Texas now, by the way.
I think you're going to see more of that.
No shit. You think you might see more of that?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, okay, I'll start preparing, packing up my boxes.
You do really well in Texas.
I would?
Oh, yeah.
Why? What makes you say that?
Texas is amazing.
Why would I do well in Texas?
Because I don't think you realize how oppressed California has made you.
Really?
Yeah. If you get out of California, you get to Texas, you can be like, God damn, I can carry a gun?
I'm not doing that. That scares me.
Why?
That does scare me.
Carrying a weapon?
Yeah.
When the apocalypse comes.
You would?
Huh?
You would carry?
Bro, I carry all the guns.
I carry all the guns.
All the guns. All the unnecessary shit. Glocks. Like,
Glocks.
all of it.
Some of these are just wildly unnecessary. Like,
Yeah.
like assault rifles is like crazy. I don't know. It's hard for me to understand.
My favorite is in Texas. It's not uncommon people have like weapons in the back of their truck.
Yes.
Or like in their vehicle. Or like them having like a shotgun or like a handgun in their like holster in their truck, like permanently affixed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's different part of the world, man.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing to me is, I know this is gonna sound like it's not political. It's just my personal experience. I've seen less violence in states that have that visible of like an open carry,
Yeah.
population. Like I see what's happening up in like some of these high end stores and malls.
Mm-hmm.
Would these people feel so emboldened to do that if they're like, shit, like most of these people got guns on them?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's desperation, right?
And maybe at this time, I'm not judging anybody who's doing it for all sorts. All I'm saying is my visible experience in the past has been in places where open carry and concealed carry was much more pronounced. You saw less violence.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a fear on both sides. Maybe
there's definitely some stats out there on this.
Yeah,
I don't have them readily available, but I have heard them where I'm like, oh wow, that's actually
maybe we should ask Haroon to pull them up. Hey, Haroon. Oh fuck.
Come on,
yeah,
guy.
damn it.
Let's get into this review.
Before you do, there is a seventh warning sign that I think we should be very clear about. Jim Cramer has officially said that the Fed hasn't actually achieved a soft landing.
Has achieved.
He's come out and said the Fed has achieved a soft landing, and I knew immediately we were fucked.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
You gotta do the inverse.
Reverse Cramer to the moon, baby.
Yeah.
Inverse Cramer to the moon. Yeah. We're fucked. He fucked us all.
It's his fault.
Last week he said that, and I was like in my office going, son of a bitch.
God damn.
Well.
Yeah, good night, everybody.
Pull that McKellen out of the backpack.
Yeah. Way to bring it full circle. All right, let's get into this review. Which, by the way, a quick update for you. We're done watching Grey's Anatomy.
You gave up?
No, we reached the episode. Okay, we reached the season finale of season 5. Okay, and that's all my wife wanted me to get to, apparently.
What was so pivotal about this season finale?
One of the main characters is no longer part of the show, like passes away, right? But it's like it's hidden. It's hard to figure out who it is. So a big reason why she also wanted to end it was as it's happening, I called it before it happened, and she's like, "That was supposed to be one of the best scenes." I was just watching, waiting for your reaction, and literally 10 seconds before it happened, I'm like, "Oh, so and so dies." And she's just like, it was so underwhelming for her. She's just like, fuck it, this is what happens for the rest of the show. And she just killed it. Now we're moving on to Loki.
All right.
You're happy with that?
You tell her that I told you the ending before you saw it?
I don't know the ending. No, don't tell me the ending.
No, not Loki of Grey's Anatomy.
No, you didn't tell me the ending.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you sick bastard. All right. This from J Track. Solid review, by the way. Let's see if I can get through this without coughing. 5 stars. Clearly honest. Thank you, J Track. The Higher Standard, where Mind Pump meets Joe Rogan in wealth building extravaganza.
Number 1, long ass title. Okay. Number 2, fucking great title though.
Amazing title. Yeah. Respect. So here we go. Let's see here. The Higher Standard podcast is a phenomenal listen.
I feel like that's true.
Factual.
Yeah.
Chris Nahibi's dedication to delivering unfiltered truths about wealth building and lifestyle on a higher standard is truly commendable.
Name me specifically, not you two.
Just Chris Nahibi's dedication. Only your dedication.
I would like to point out I've been on less PTO than the rest of them this year. So, I got you, brother. I'm dedicated.
Okay. You don't know who J Track's a brother. Could be sister.
I don't care. My brother in arms.
Oh, got you. Okay. Let's see. Reminiscent of the insightful discussions on Mind Pump, this podcast stands out with crispy, high-resolution audio, offering an elevated experience.
I do feel like it's classy.
It is very classy.
We don't make direct dick jokes. We make dick puns.
Yeah, and if your
Very
mind
different.
takes you there, that's on you.
Yeah, you know.
Exactly.
If it appeals to your inner child, then so be it.
Yeah. It's like the love child of Mind Pump and the profound conversations you'd expect on the Joe Rogan Experience.
I feel like that might be a little bit of an overstatement. I don't want to oversell it a little bit, but yeah. I mean,
if you want to take it there.
It's #1 podcast in the world.
First top 1% podcast in the world.
Yeah.
We can say that, though.
We can't say that.
There's a lot of people out there that claim that shit that's not true. I actually...
Bro, I fucking look that shit up every time.
Every time somebody told me, they're like, oh, so-and-so has a podcast now, somebody that we know, and it's great, it's amazing, they get a lot of downloads, and I'm like, oh, really, what's the name of the podcast? And I check it out, I'm like, Not top 1% though.
Bro, there's so many people who say that shit. Then I go to YouTube afterward just to cross check it,
Oh,
and the numbers aren't there. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
come on now.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris's daily updates on Instagram are the cherry on top. Wow.
Daily.
5 stars for a podcast that's not just a different standard, but indeed the higher standard. Hashtag ChatGPT.
Wow. So not only did this individual shit on you and Haroon, but ChatGPT did too.
I got AI shitting on me now?
AI is the future.
What'd you do to AI?
They know.
You spoke to AI? This is what you did. You let AI know. You programmed the algorithm.
They know, bro.
This is what you did. You went over there and you told AI, you're like, so the Higher Standard podcast is all about Chris
Y'all better
Davis'
hope to
dedication.
God I never get a Wikipedia page. Because I'm going to edit the page and literally label myself your boss.
I'm going to consistently and constantly edit that page.
I'm going to label myself a Rune's weight loss coach.
Oh, if you get a Wikipedia page, best believe I'm going to put on there the palazzo that you end up buying.
The palazzo, he leaves a here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, so don't worry about it.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
All right. Odun, you got anything else?
Ooh. That's awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let that sink in. All right. You got anything?
Maybe we should add the sound of him eating chips in the background from old footage.
Just randomly.
Just put him in there.
Show. You got anything?
No, that's it. We're good.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Goodbye.
That's awkward.
Yeah. It's the first of the year.
That's not the